directly over to the Maokai. It's been fascinating to watch this player's evolution over the course of his career, because we always knew him as a carry player, but it feels as though that style has changed so much this year.
And I mean, it's just one of the things that I think is a structural difference between the top level league of LCS and then lower level play in amateur academy, NACL, however you want to describe it. A lot of times guys who get famous on those carries find that it's harder to pop off with them and snowball the game in a similar way at the higher level. So Immortals happy to lock in that Maokai. It's Tristana, LeBlanc, Sejuani, Nico, Ivern, and Kindred all band away. TSM are swift to lock in that Renekton and the Nautilus, and Bolulu's going to be running his signature pick there in the mid lane with Vel'Koz.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of a treat here, Clay, to start the day off, right? One of my favorite champions, also one of the things that made Bolulu famous during his time in Turkey. This and his Zoe were the two best champions, and I know, listening to people last week, everyone was saying, he's like, I want to see more Bolulu on his signature champs, but he's throwing this one down relatively early before he even knows what Insanity is doing. There's a lot of scary counter picks, but I love the fact that they've already taken off the Tristana. That's the one thing that Insanity has had a lot of success in this kind of matchup.
Poppy also locked in here for Immortals. I like this pick because it can be used as a disruptor so effectively with a steadfast presence. Artillery mages are a class of champion that you don't see a ton
They don't
of,
move.
right?
Yeah.
Like here and there, we'll see maybe a Xerath or a Zoe or something, but you don't see him nearly as much as just like a traditional control mage would. And so the thing about him is, you gotta protect them. If they can free fire, they can do so much damage, but as soon as somebody closes the gap, they are in trouble. And Insanity recognizes the need to get in and get out against that pick. I think Yone's a great answer here.
Exactly, right? This is this classic answer that we see to things like Azir, who is the most common quote-unquote artillery mage that we see in the meta anyway. And this is the kind of thing you're going to be diving on him super aggressively every single time. And the thing is, it's so hard to lock down the Yone as well. Even with the Maokai and the Poppy coming through to try and stop him in his tracks, he can just be like, see ya, I will come back later. I am unstoppable. But TSM, they already have this really big dive composition, and it might be a little tough going into the rest of IMT, right? The Maokai, the Poppy, while they struggle to stop the Yone, do a great job at stopping the Nautilus and Renekton.
I think one of the rarest things about the draft that we're seeing in front of us right now, we have gone through the first half of the draft for both teams. Neither side locked in an AD carry. So that just means that AD carries and their supports there in the bottom lane going to be targeted in the second half of the draft. As you can see, the Xayah and the Aphelios banned out by TSM, while Immortals are saying, hey, we don't think that Nautilus is in support because we're banning out Melio and Rakan. And sure enough, it looks like it won't be in support. Indeed, we've got the Kog'Maw and the Braum locked in for IMT. Over on TSM, they're locking in the Jinx for WildTurtle. This has been a pick that he's found some success on so far here in summer. I would love to see Chime lock in the namesake. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. I know that it is just such a pocket pick for him, but Lulu's so much more likely. So there we go. Lulu locked in, and it's going to be that Nautilus in the jungle.
I gotta say, Clayton, if we are looking at this game, this might be one of the best opportunities for IMT to find a win so far going into week 4, right? They have all the tools. They have the Braum, Maokai, Poppy. You could not ask for a better front line for the Kog'Maw and the Vel'Koz, because these guys, if they have the opportunity to stand still, like we were saying, they're just gonna be doing so much damage. Hauntzer's not gonna be able to get into them easily. Boogie's not gonna be able to get into them easily, and that means there's missing damage in order to get WildTurtle's resets.
WildTurtle is going to want to provide some of that long-range threat of his own, most certainly just trying to punch through these frontliners, this solid tank wall that you're talking about. But I'm also looking at Chime on the Lulu, because you're going to have two possible lines of thinking here, where if Turtle gets to pop off, if he gets ahead early, hey, maybe we can play Protect the Jinx. Otherwise, if it's up to Insanity to break through that front line and get to the back, Lulu's job is going to be buffing up Yone and making sure he can get that job done. So I'm going to put you in the hot seat here. Which draft do you like better now that we've seen
I like Immortals. I like Immortals, right?
The nice win. Bolulu running the first strike there on Vel'Koz for the extra poke. A little bit of extra damage. Tactical on that Kog'Maw. Going to be having similar range to the Vel'Koz once he gets enough levels in him. Boogie on the jungle Nautilus, too. I'm looking for a lot of gank potential out of this one. We already know what Maokai's capable of. And speaking of the Maokai, I think when I look at Immortals, Kenvi is one of the players that if I'm looking back at their games through the first round robin, he's one of the guys I'm looking for the most improvement from. I think he had a lot of games where the team would have liked to get some more out of his performances, and hopefully he's sharpened up and ready to go here now that we're in the second half of summer.
And it's worth noting that he's playing up against Boogie. I first knew Boogie from his time in the LGL, where he was playing with V3, and at that point, Boogie was was the best player on the team, bar none. He got so much pressure. He basically solo carried the team to go to Worlds in the first place. Did a similar thing when he went down to Latin America as well. But Kenvi is this big player that needs to showcase a little bit more play. It feels as though when IMT starts falling behind, they don't talk as much. They don't move together as a unit in the same way that they do in their few wins they've had.
Gotta have comms, man. If you don't have comms, you're just playing some solo queue. Treatz having the exhaust this game, something that I want to point out there as a difference in the bottom lane matchups. Gotta make sure that they're ready to stop the Croc or the Yone if they do manage to break through those lines and find one of these two valuable carries. Also worth pointing out, Tactical, no cleanse on him compared to WildTurtle running that one, being a little bit more respectful of all the CC their opponents have. Treatz with the instant flash into the exhaust. WildTurtle popping the cleanse, just walking this one off. Treatz with a very aggressive double summoner. Tactical even uses his own ghost. Immortals spent a lot there, and honestly, TSM didn't have to use a whole lot in return to go even.
Yeah, I mean, their wave is pushing towards WildTurtle and Chime now as well because of the number of minion auto attacks that Tactical and Treatz were taking. This is a really tough position unless you continue to be aggressive.
Turtle now going to be forced to flash back. That's what you like to see. They have to keep that going if they want to make this worthwhile.
And already we're starting to see Boogie cheating towards the bottom side of the map. Nautilus is a character you can go for some of these level 2 ganks on. He just throws down a ward. Not as exciting as I was hoping for here, Clayton, but still already action flying down here in the bottom lane. Most of these summoners down means that both Kenvi and Tactical can come down.
And I like the ward place from Boogie there because he's probably thinking, hey, if Tactical and Treatz are playing this aggressively, there's a decent shot their jungler might be looking to do something similar here. So just wants to make sure that he doesn't get caught off guard. Up top side, Renekton's taking over the early lane. Who would have guessed? That's probably going to stay about what you would expect as Tactical continues trying to play aggressively, utilize that range. Great turtle here, but Boogie's ready to make an entrance. The dredge line goes out. Remember, there is no flash available on Treatz. This should be an easy kill. One more auto attack will do it. The zap, his sidestep. Boogie needs a little bit more damage, and Riptide gets some.
And there he goes, a great read, right? We were saying you'd be super aggressive on this champion early on. He doesn't go after the first camp, he goes after the second camp, really interrupts a lot of the timing and an unusual angle. You see that the wards were already being there in the river. A beautiful read coming out from TSM to put one of the major damage dealers in IMT's camp behind to start the game.
It's one of the fundamentals of League of Legends, man. If you are just going to play complete, like, full aggro, go after the guy, blow summoners level 1, shove
fight him back.
You gotta be ready for the jungler to show up and say, hey, cut that out. And that's exactly what Boogie does, getting down there and punishing Immortals, who, yeah, they had a nice little bit of a farm advantage because of the pressure, because of the aggro way they were playing, but they're gonna have to be respectful and make sure that Boogie can't just keep coming down here for free.
Yeah, and the other big thing is, like, you're giving up some farm as this Nautilus, but it's like, who cares? You're playing the Nautilus, right? You play this champion in order to have no money. You go lane to lane. It's jungle surfing, right? You go bot lane, get a kill. Try and go mid lane, get a kill. But so far, as he moves himself towards the top half of the map, it looks like he actually picked up a lot of the CS down the bottom side. He's only picked up a couple of his own camps.
Well, Solo up here on the Poppy in this top lane. We were talking a little bit in the draft about how this guy is going to have a pretty important job of denying engages from Hauntzer, from Boogie, from Insanity for these carries as the game goes on. Yeah, it's a 1-0 lead for TSM, but everything's still relatively close. And the big factor here, just because of the way that these champions are with these long-range artillery picks in the Kog'Maw and the Vel'Koz, can that gap be closed? If yes, Immortals is in trouble. If no, they're feeling great. And a big part of that's going to be Solo. I think he's come up clutch in plenty of times before. The guy's fine playing weak side. He's fine just being that interrupter, being the role player top laner, the meatball, and that's exactly what the team needs from him this game.
Yeah, and they're both classic TSM top laners too, right? These guys are used to playing in that regard. Neither Hauntzer nor Solo have been used to having a ton of jungle pressure going in their direction at the same time. And also, Kenvi's a player, he normally has been playing towards mid. When they have found some of their success, it has been a lot of pressure coming out of the mid lane, right? When Bolulu is having a good game, he can move with Kenvi. But so far, right, you've already been talking about it. This Yone is going to be putting a lot of pressure on the mid lane to start the game, but I gotta say, Blue's doing a really good job actually maintaining his CS in this lane. We get to see why it's been one of his best champions.
Yeah, these guys are dead even so far, 46-46. Insanity gonna go ahead, go back to base, purchase the fully completed boots there with the Berserker's Greaves up against Vel'Koz or any pure skill shot champion like that. Rushing those tier 2 boots is always gonna feel good for a little bit of that extra dodging capability and gap closing power just to get on top of him and guarantee that you can chase him down for the all-in. Kenvi's in bottom lane, but he walks right over a ward, so TSM's going to be aware of this. They'll fall back underneath the turret. They know that Boogie's coming down. So even if Immortals tries to force a dive, Boogie would be able to be there in time. But instead, Immortals decides to back away. Kenvi's going to head back into his own jungle to farm things up. Level 6 available for both of our mid laners. A lot of times you'll see Yone's try to use that Fate Sealed to engage and just find a really aggressive trade onto the guy if they feel like there's not anything else available at the time. But Insanity could also have an option to try to go down here and make plays in the bottom lane, considering Turtle and Chime are dealing with a Tactical and Treatz that aren't afraid to push.
And I really like the pathing coming up from Boogie so far as he's waiting around. Tactical and Treatz are going to be backing up, but we've seen that Boogie is putting a concentrated effort to taking down at least one of these major damage dealers. He's only level 4, and Kenvi is coming around trying to find exactly where this diver is.
Kenvi level 5, so going to have that bit of an advantage here. Boogie gets tagged. Tactical's lagging behind the rest of the team, though. He flashes forward into the enemy jungler as Tactical's putting the damage into Boogie, who may drop turret. Insanity jumps in. Fate Sealed, and Tactical's down. Boogie is short a drop here in a 1-for-1 trade, but where else is it going to go? A double kill for Insanity. Turtle tries to escape away from the Vel'Koz ulti, and he'll do just that. It's a 2-for-1 trade for TSM.
And those boots you're talking about, Insanity, he got the pressure in the mid lane. He runs faster to the fight. He picks up Tactical on the backside. That fight was looking a little bit rough at the beginning for TSM, right? There are too many members, so much damage coming out from Tactical, but as soon as Insanity is able to come out, they're coming around and back. It looks like TSM hasn't dropped a beat.
Man, Immortals, I could see what they wanted to do. They wanted to chase after Boogie there, but watch how this starts. Tactical is lagging behind and has to flash so early just so he doesn't get turned to Swiss cheese by Jinx autos.
He even has to ghost here, right? He has to get so much space. Somebody help out this little Tactical. He's whooping his way all the way over, but he gets popped. By the time he gets in the fight, Clayton, he's already polymorphed. He doesn't actually get to put damage down to Boogie this entire time, and eventually, the two tanky guys, it's Treatz and Kenvi, who end up picking up the kill, but not before WildTurtle's already found another one.
And tragedy for Immortals on the back end of it, too. Just barely missing out on enough damage from the Bolulu ulti to take WildTurtle down and make the trade come out even. But hey, if you're TSM, you're happy to see it. That play ended up going pretty well. Both kills on the Yone, too. This is exactly the guy they need getting fed, the guy they need getting paid to find his way onto those backliners like we've been talking about for the first 10 minutes here and get those team fight wins immediately.
Something we haven't even touched on at this point, Clayton, is the fact that TSM have better tools to try and go for a 1-3-1 kind of composition, right? This Yone is unmatchable by the Vel'Koz later on. And Bolulu, just as a mana champion, is not going to be able to hold Insanity for forever. And so the fact Insanity already this strong, I've seen some crazy things already coming out from the Yone this season. We know Insanity, once he gets in the side lane with this low cooldown ultimate, he just starts looking. He's like, oh, are you going to flash my ultimate this time? Yeah? All right, well, I'll be back in 20 seconds when it's back up.
Exactly. Cooldown trading and constantly providing pressure. Because, you know, you're thinking about Yone, you're thinking about Renekton. Both of these guys exist fine on their own. Kog'Maw and Vel'Koz need dudes around them. They need a bodyguard to succeed. As Insanity chases after Bolulu here, goes in for the Q3, does not find the knockup, but still continues. Just putting as much damage as he can in there before he has to snap back with a Soul Unbound. A little bit of a roam away from the bottom lane for TSM as they went for their reset. Means that Immortals now gets to crash a massive wave into this bottom turret. They'll take down the first plate. Tactical may even be able to pick up the second as Turtle and Chime are trying to be respectful. They know the enemy jungler was around. They don't just want to int this away. That second plate stays standing. The Turtle... the armor not able to reinforce in time as Turtle can clear out some of those minions. Insanity, get on out of there, buddy. 300 HP left. That Vel'Koz laser hurts like crazy because it stacks up the passive. Before you know it, that thing's just getting that true damage proc, making it really hard to get out of it. And so at least for Insanity, yeah, you're going to get the ulti cooldown out. He still has his ulti available, but health is way too low to continue trying to lane right now, so he's got to take the back.
And now we also got to start looking at, right, when Insanity gets back, what items will he be on? He's already got the Vampiric Scepter. He's basically full build at this point. And TSM, they've been spending so much time trying to come down towards the bottom half of the map, right? Insanity's got some kills. Turtle's got some assists. They are strong on this part already. And Bolulu, he just committed his ultimate as well. TSM, gotta be careful with Boogie.
Okay, Solo's gonna disengage the enemy top laner, while in the bottom, it's TSM having their jungler just get melted here at the very beginning. Immortals brought more dudes, and TSM needs to get out. Boogie's already down. Nothing else going to be traded back just yet for IMT, who are happy to pick that one up.
A little sloppy, honestly, from TSM, right? They just have Boogie super far forward. He's on this Nautilus, which, like, yes, you are a tank, but you don't have the money yet. You're not actually tanky at this point. And like you said, IMT, just have more friends. Power friendship, baby. You just bring that all around, they take down Boogie. I was just setting up to say, TSM, they should be looking to start fighting for this dragon. But now that Boogie's already gone down, he's got camps on the top side, and he's sacking them once again in order to make sure that his team can start stacking these objectives.
And I like how at the very beginning of that fight, we got to see the solo disengage onto Hauntzer there, just knock him away. They know that Hauntzer doesn't have a teleport or anything like that, so if Solo can get rid of him, you can see Solo just now teleporting back up there. He could have been useful. But
he could have been useful.
If they needed it, he could have been useful and joined up and made a play, but then recognizing, hey, I don't need to do that. Everything goes fine. WildTurtle, sum it up down here in the bottom. Just trying to put some more money in WildTurtle's pockets. That Jinx currently about 300, 400 gold behind the Kog'Maw, as Insanity trying to outplay here in the mid lane as Kenvi goes after him. Bolulu throwing the laser around, but over the wall goes Yone. He's so damn slippery. The plot armor gets him out.
That's my boy David finding his way out of that one. I thought for sure he was gonna die, but the slick moves get him over the wall. Doesn't even need to flash at that point. He finds his way out, he uses the ultimate. But still, we are already looking at IMT. They're starting to fight back kind of across the board. Even with the WildTurtle being dropped down in the bottom half of the map, giving WildTurtle a little bit more money, it is still IMT scrapping it all through. Despite the extra kill going over, it is IMT starting up this dragon, and as Chime's going to be backing away, it's only Boogie here once again.
All right, Boogie, I don't think it's a play you can make, buddy. Just gonna have to step back there with the dredge line. Immortals will take this first Drake. This is a slow first Drake, 12 minutes in the game, so don't be expecting any fast soul stacking, even if they can go 4-0 on that score. As the dragon is secured, they fired up the Super Mega Death Rocket just to see if they could get some sort of a cheeky steal. Maybe Kenvi miss-smites it, but Immortals will happily take that one away, as it is plus 300 for TSM thanks to just that one kill they have. And that kind of tells the story of how close this game has been. Insanity going in for the dive, snaps back with a Soul Unbound. He does not have Fate Seal to get that last little bit of damage he would need, so Bolulu survives.
But you're continuing to see the same game plan playing out from TSM this entire game, right? Boogie has... His top camps, they've been up since 9 minutes at this point. He does not care about the Raptors, the Krugs. They're all fake news. We're all about trying to make sure that WildTurtle is going to be the strong one down here. He's finally moving up, and WildTurtle's getting caught.
Turtle getting jumped on immediately. Has to flash back. Also gets the wild growth from Chime just because Treatz and Tactical had such a good angle on him there. The Glacial Fissure forcing out that defensive summoner spell. And now this is a big old flare being shot up into the air. Junglers come down here. If it's TSM, Turtle's going to need some protection. If it's Immortals, this dude is vulnerable. Kenvi has the ulti ready. He's hovering behind. He does not want to walk on top of any vision. If they could open this up with a nice Maokai ulti coming around from the side, they'd feel great about it. Kenvi going to step over the ward now, the sweeper revealing that one, so TSM knows he's nearby. TSM, you know you don't want to be caught out from this. There's no Lulu ulti. There's no Jinx flash. Even if it goes into a 3v3, I think Immortals win these.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy. I think this is the closest game to a tri-lane I've seen in a long time, right? Both teams are saying, all right, we'll send our jungler to go clear out some camps every now and then, but Boogie coming all the way back down. Those top side camps are still up. That is how committed they are to this. He needs to make sure this bottom side is actually going well. They will get some shove, but as you're kind of talking about, right, IMT, they've been doing a good job with some of the early aggression that Treatz had with some of these fights going over towards IMT. Tactical and Treatz are still up about 4 waves already this early on in the game, and that is with the attention that TSM has put down their side. I'm really already looking yet again at how TSM can try and adapt their strategy, because we said they will do well if Insanity's ahead, because not only can he dive, but also he can split push.
Yep. And you can see that total gold on the left side of your screen right there. It's Insanity about 500 gold ahead of either AD carry, who are swapping back and forth based on whoever cleared the last minion, and then Bolulu right behind them. Hauntzer right behind them. Solo lagging a little bit further behind his counterpart here, but you can see Hauntzer also having a couple waves of advantage there in the CS department. The Renekton with the Gore Drinker. This is going to be another one of those big players that's looking to break through that front line of Immortals, find the value targets on Bolulu, on Tactical, specifically going to watch where and when he decides to use the teleports as this game moves on. Now we're 15 minutes in, so plates have fallen. I'm expecting to start seeing some bigger fights here soon.
It's really going to be around Bolulu and Insanity, right? We've been paying so much attention to the bottom half of the map, but it's Insanity trying to get onto Bolulu and Bolulu trying to avoid it every single time. As we got another dragon spawning in about 2 minutes, that is probably going to be where TSM kind of stakes their claim over the bottom half of the map. Because right now, they're going to be taking the WildTurtle completely uncontested. IMT don't want no smoke. They want WildTurtle.
WildTurtle trying to step back here a little bit with Chime having the wild growth. Turtle pops the cleanse. And Tactical pops his health bar. Nicely done from Immortals there. That's the punish I was looking for.
And that's beautiful. Solo's still trying to play a bit of a blocker on the WildTurtle, but even after WildTurtle gets dropped bot with so many ganks coming out from Boogie, it is going to be Tactical and Treatz who should be able to pick up first brick in this game. They're finding yet another one, and I gotta say, this has to feel a little bit good for the IMT bottom lane. I got a fun fact for you actually, Clayton.
What do you got?
Did you know that there are only 2 players in this game who have never played for TSM before? This is one of their old bot lanes coming out and taking down their new one.
Well, man, they're definitely making a statement down here with this one. 2-1-1 for Tactical, having that plus 35 CS, dive in the mid lane, and Insanity just wipes Bolulu off the map. Man, he made it look easy. 3-0 now on the Yone.
David, brother, you're looking pretty hot today. That is exactly what we like to see. Going between the darts, trying to take people down. We said that was going to be where the play was around, and Insanity, his ultimate, it's going to be back up for this next fight. Bolulu still has to play super far back, and now he's got a Gale Force as well to contend with because Insanity has been popping off. He's cut Bolulu out of enough waves. And as we start moving towards the bottom side of the map, Kenvi, he's gone for a relatively squishy build. We said this was the ideal front line, but oh my god, they are going to melt to Insanity.
Tactical and Treatz roaming up to the mid lane now, just trying to get some extra push, rotate that strength around the map. Now that they've broken through that first turret in the bottom lane, you can see if they keep this rolling, Tactical could absolutely be the wrecking ball that Immortals needs to continue building this lead up to something meaningful. Because right now, it's still plus 500 for TSM, but item spikes, when we're looking at them for Immortals, are about the same level. Insanity going to get some more money in TSM's pockets, bring that up to a little over 1,000, taking out the tier 1 on bottom side. A little bit of that split push power you were talking about, but Immortals will not be able to make it down in time to collapse on him. Insanity just going to commit the TP to join back up with the rest of TSM here in the mid lane. Utilize that Herald, knock down the tier 1 there. Treatz loses half HP, Insanity disengaging again.
TSM are just going to take all 3 turrets at this point, right? They are saying, yeah, go ahead. You already got the first dragon at 12 minutes, and now Solo's got to run for Insanity's ultimate's coming up.
Insanity goes in for the Q3. Trench line brings Boogie up close to him. Wants to pop the ultimate there. The depth charge finds the target. Solo's ready to try to disengage him. Only hits a minion, but he stays alive while the rest of Immortals are able to claim the Drake. 2 Drakes to nothing now for IMT. Ocean Soul is going to be the name of the game here as the map transforms, and Hauntzer takes out that turret there in top lane. Brings TSM up to a 3-1 turret lead, plus 2,000 gold over Immortals.
We do got to say, Immortal, this might be the biggest high roll on Dragons they could have possibly gotten, right? We already know they want to take these front to back. They want to take these slow fights. They want to slow down WildTurtle's ability to reset as teleports come through.
Insanity off to the side here, finds Kenvi and Bolulu thrown up into the air. Fate sealed, interrupts the Vel'Koz ulti, and now Bolulu could be in some serious danger. He tries to get back away, but Turtle's got the damage. Treatz is next in line, and it's a double kill back over to Jinx. Kenvi and Solo and Tactical head for the hills, and Boogie's gone fishing and landed him a big one. Solo's got no way home, and he'll be sliced and diced by the Ruthless Predator. Boogie picks up that kill, and TSM get a swift 3-0.
Who cares about Dragons? We have gold at this point, man. They are getting everything. They're just finding one. They find more teleports coming through. Look like IMT trying to make a play. They catch out Insanity, but once again, this guy's got the magic shoes on. He's slipping and sliding, making sure nobody can take him down. And TSM, well, yes, they lost the dragon. Look at how this teleport comes through. Insanity caught off on the side initially. They almost burst him out, and Hauntzer completely separated, right? This starts off as 2 separate one-man units from TSM, but it turns around because Insanity, a clutch ultimate stopping the ult from Bolulu, and then on top of that, he just stays alive this entire time. He's got the shields. There's no damage coming up from Tag because he has no W.
Man, that was tragic for Immortals. The game was so close just a couple minutes ago, and now with that on top of the plates and the turrets that were already acquired from TSM knocking down all those tier 1s, they're up 3,500 gold. IMT has got to be careful here, man. You have one more fight like that, I feel like you're pretty far out of the game unless TSM throws it. Insanity now continuing to play that split push game. Steadfast presence from Solo is not going to stop anything. Insanity sees it. He waits it out before using the Q3. That's 40% of the Poppy's health there in a swift trade that he doesn't really lose anything for.
No. And it's going to get worse, right? It's going to get way worse for everybody in the side lanes. We were saying that Insanity would be uncontested going up against Bolulu, and it looks like it might be uncontested going up against Solo as well. And Solo, unfortunately, right, he was just left in an island all alone. Going up against Hauntzer has a small deficit, but it's become a really big deficit because the rest of the map has started to go, you know, bell end.
This is trouble, man. Second item completed now for Insanity. 20 minutes in, he goes for the Bloodthirster. Extra sustain there in that side lane split push scenario, and so much AD, exactly. As long as he stays over that threshold, which he pretty much permanently will, just healing up off a minion wave should be more than enough. You can also see second item completed there. The Black Cleaver was recently put together by Hauntzer. Very powerful 2-item combination there from the Renekton, and it just makes it that much harder for Solo to be able to play the game. The biggest issue for Immortals right now, fights are very difficult when you're on all these 1.5-item power spikes and your opponents have the full 2 items ready to go.
Let's start looking at exactly how IMT can try and turn this one around, right? Because you already painted the picture. It's looking pretty dire. You don't have gold. You don't have a lot of ways to go for the split push. You don't have a lot of ways to necessarily go for a straight up fight. But who can actually make the plays? It's got to be Solo. It has to be Solo trying to find some of these flanks in order to get on top of WildTurtle. You need to be able to put your steadfast presence on Insanity to start off the fight, because if you try and save it until after he's leaving already, he's not going to do anything at all. IMT, then you start getting some deeper vision in order to try and upset the balance of power, because if TSM chooses when the fights happen, IMT are never winning them.
Hauntzer's keeping that pressure on bottom. As you can see, the rest of TSM up here in the top side, maybe looking to see if they could find a pick. Boogie throughout the dredge line, but it does not connect on Kenvi or any other members of Immortals, and this is what we were expecting to see. It's a 1-3-1. Yone's up in top side, Renekton's down in bottom, and Lulu and Nautilus play bodyguards for Jinx in mid, just clearing waves and making sure that there's no Immortals presence anywhere past the river. You can look at the state of the map right now.
That's so scary.
You've got a couple of Scryer's Blooms at the entrance to Baron Pit and the top lane Tribrush. Everything else is on their own half of the map. It's TSM who are always playing aggressively in this.
And it's like looking at a horror game too, Clay, and you see that as you were talking about, they have no vision at all. When there's nobody on the map that you can see, you have to start asking, like, are they hitting the Baron? Right? They've got Insanity. He's already very fed. He got the Jinx. There's going to be shredding this objective as well. It's not unrealistic for TSM, if they are convinced that IMT is not going to challenge them, to just start hitting objectives. Now, you got 20 seconds left on this Ocean Dragon. IMT, if they can get to the Ocean Soul, that's an alternative win condition. But how do you even walk up? There's no tools for you to walk forward. You have to face check every single bush, and you never know which one's going to have a Boogie in it.
It's hard to face check and get to that third Drake that you would also want, and there's always the concern too, hey, if we go for the third Drake and we can get there, what if they're just doing Baron instead? TSM, you know they wouldn't mind trading away a third Drake for a Baron at 23 minutes into the game. They're not on it just yet. Immortals dropping another Scryer trinket into the pit to make sure of that. But it's Chime and Turtle, again, just constantly pushing up this wave mid. TSM's in no rush to throw away the lead that they've built, jumping into anything silly, and it'll just be Hauntzer and Turtle starting up the Drake. Scryer's trinket there in the back brush of that pit. So TSM, they're not afraid of this whatsoever. Immortals know that they cannot go into neutral territory. They cannot walk into this fog of war, and they cannot continue stacking those Drakes right now. Still plus 3,500 gold for TSM. Things aren't really going anywhere right now, but TSM are happy with that.
TSM are very happy with that, right? They put IMT's potential win condition 5 minutes further back. And look at this. Tactical already starting to build the Warden's Mail too. He knows he needs to stay alive. That is priority number one. Bolulu also with the Zonias. These guys have cut their damage by so much. So they just know they need these fights to go as long as humanly possible. And so, as we continue to look forward, like, we got to look at what this actually means for the rest of TSM, right? Because they did have a very rough last week. They went 0-3, but now David's back. They are on a 4-game losing streak, but Insanity was only part of one of those. And Hauntzer, you do got to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah, he's scrapping a little bit long here with the Poppy, who has that Jack Show plus the Sunfire Cave. Very scary items, as Boogie eats a lot of damage there from the Vel'Koz. Zonias plus Leandri's. The Zonias is an absolutely huge purchase here for Bolulu, who's going to have that extra get-out-of-jail-free card to try to survive some of the dives coming out of Hauntzer and Insanity. So let me ask you this. Yep. If you're Immortals, how confident are you feeling right now? Because obviously, Solo's at least able to hold his own down here in the bottom lane matchup. You're scaling forward and TSM's not accelerating the game. Does this feel... How winnable are we feeling?
You know, you're mostly waiting on a mistake at this point, right? If I'm on Immortals, I'm just like, well, we can't make any proactive plays. This is when I start yelling at my jungler, hey, I just need you to just like face check something and hopefully live for as long as possible. If we can do it in a choke point, if you can get TSM to over-engage somewhere, that's going to be your big opportunity to try and come back in. But TSM, they don't even feel pressure to try and make anything happen. They're saying, yeah, we are going to wait. We're going to get Insanity onto a third item. At that point, he's going to be able to rip through every single person. And Kenvi, right, he's the one who actually has to to try and make some space because TSM are the ones hitting the Baron.
TSM going after the Baron as Kenvi
Boogie,
leads
man.
the charge. Boogie's stuck here in the front, and Bolulu backs him up with some artillery fire. Insanity's into the back, but he's about to die.
Oh, they got
the
him.
damage flies out. Turtle's going to take down the enemy jungler, but they've lost Insanity. Immortals come out on top here in this trade, and it's exactly what you were talking about. TSM overdive. They send Yone into the back, but he's alone, and he's focus fired down.
Yeah, and he does it in this choke point. Uh-oh, Hauntzer got to be careful too. All right, he doesn't have to be that careful, all right. But still, the fact that IMT find the one thing that they needed, they had Insanity go too far forward. They didn't have the Boogie man also trying to jump on them in the backside. Just meant that Bolulu and Tactical could focus fire, and Insanity, even though he's able to get out of these fights pretty effectively, he needs to make sure he has the health to do it. But that gets worse. I got bad news, right? Insanity will be able to do that in about 5-10 minutes when he has another item complete, has even more life steal to play with, and TSM, I mean, even though the first time didn't work, you just try it again. Oops.
Okay. I didn't
F
see that.
in chat.
F in the real game. He's got the summer spell. Anyway, a little bit unlucky there, but yeah, TSM may have overplayed that one slightly. Immortals, I like the way that they commit with only what they have to still stay safe, right? Bolulu's not shy about just opening up there with the laser, keeping himself very far back. The rest of the team ready to protect those carries as Insanity tries to jump in and blow them up. It still seems like Immortals is ready to fight this one out. They were ready to immediately engage when they saw TSM going after the Baron. They weren't shy about firing off the Nature's Grasp. Now they're grouped up as 5 here again. We'll see if they can find anything. They don't have a ton of over-the-wall engage, except for Kenvi's twisted advance, so Boogie can walk away from that one. Insanity comes down to half. Nature's Grasp looking forward again. More burst flies out, always aimed at the Yone. Hauntzer looking for a way into the back, but now they've got to be careful still. With Boogie and Insanity both injured, TSM does not want to disjointedly engage. Hauntzer just trying to walk this one off. No damage is nearby for Immortals. It's a very big deal for Immortals, too. You're not going to get a kill unless Bolulu or Tactical is with you. Even though Hauntzer's walking away from a 3v1, the 3 was Treatz and Kenvi and Solo. There's not much damage there. He's not really worried. But Insanity is struggling to find his interest into some of these fights.
I'm a little bit surprised that he's spending as much time with the rest of the squad, right? We know that he's really going to be powering up with every single item he completes, and by moving with the rest of the team and, crucially, not going for a flank engage, he's always going to be in a position where he's just trying to go right up the pipe. We said that was the most difficult way to play against this Immortals composition. You're trying to get through Poppy, you're trying to get through the Maokai, trying to get through Braum, and now we actually are seeing Insanity. He's starting to go off to the side, has level 16. That ultimate is basically going every single time you have a new wave, and we are going back towards the side lanes and creating a lot of pressure and making sure his waves are pushed 10 seconds before the dragon spawns.
Observers, is it possible to see the current cooldown on Fate Sealed for Yone?
It's like 5 seconds.
I think it might not be 5 seconds, but it's probably
like
something
40.
Pretty short.
Yeah.
But that's what we got to see. We need to see that pressure either in the side or in the team fight somewhere. If nothing else, just having enough control over the map to guarantee these objectives. And sure enough, they can do that. Immortals is saying, all right, let him have this. We got the first 2. It's not like they're anywhere close to Soul. Yeah, we're not moving ourselves forward, but this isn't worth setting ourselves back for either.
The danger, though, if IMT just allows these dragons to continue going over, is that TSM also has the Ocean Soul as a win condition because of how much damage IMT does, because there's so much over time. The Ocean Soul is at its maximum efficiency. And so TSM, they're okay taking this game a little bit longer as long as IMT are not starting to pressure them on the sides. But we are starting to see, yet again, this top lane lead, even though Hauntzer was losing the fight up against Solo last time we actually saw them interact, he's starting to build a larger and larger CS lead. And we've seen him. He's already hunted. He's hunting for all the different angles.
Boogie over the wall. Are we going to see an engage here? They go in after Turtle, but it's only Treatz who gets grabbed over the wall. Tactical is safe, and Bolulu's ready to provide covering fire. Immortals pick up another one, and it's the enemy jungler. I think this might just be the Baron angle, Joshi.
It's Baron time. It's Baron o'clock. They're already coming through. Insanity trying to get it back off, but that was TSM trying to go for a fight 3v5, and Hauntzer misses dash over the wall, and they know exactly where he is.
TSM need to stop this. Insanity's coming in here with a teleport. Immortals still on the Baron. Hauntzer wanting to get away before they can burst him down, burn him down. Baron is so incredibly low, they want to try to burn it and make sure this one drops before TSM's able to contest anything. Keep your eyes on Turtle. The rockets are firing off and Treatz is low. The Baron has still not been brought down.
No.
Immortals are scattered. This is not what they need right now as Hauntzer is exhausted, but he goes to the back line looking for Lulu. Insanity's found damage onto Kenvi. On the solo. Hauntzer drops before he's able to find a valuable kill. They're still looking for a little bit more on TSM side, but they've stopped the Baron, and that's good enough for now. It'll be a 1-for-1 trade.
A hero play coming out from Solo to keep Insanity off of that fight, even though Hauntzer got in, and he almost was able to win that 1v3. Solo kept Insanity out of it the entire time. And so TSM, they do stop the Baron. They get another turret here in the mid lane. Yone continues scaling up, and TSM, their gold lead has remained the same after everything that has happened so far, but they're starting to move towards another dragon again, right? 3 minutes until the Ocean Dragon actually comes up. Take another look at this one. Watch how Solo keeps Insanity. Even though he misses that, he gets on top. He knows he's never going to win this fight. He knows he's never going to kill Insanity, but as long as he keeps him out, he and Kenvi can make sure that the rest of his team can take down Hauntzer. As Hauntzer starts to dive in, the stopwatch comes through. Insanity once again grounded. Kenvi turns around, keeps him out, and even though Hauntzer, even through the exhaust, almost wipes a couple members of IMT, he's just short on damage.
Man, what a chaotic fight there. I was so concerned for Immortals because Treatz was very low there at the start. If Turtle would have been able to find a get excited proc right out the gate, you were talking about it back in draft. Jinx becomes a much stronger champion once that passive is turned on. TSM would love to find one of those situations, but Immortals have been doing a pretty good job of trying to play around their limits and play around their range so far in this one. You can see Insanity with that Immortal Shield Bow, double lifesteal items, plus that KO Force. Yone is a problem, but Horizon Focus also completed for Bolulu. A little bit of extra power on either CC or long range, which Vel'Koz can provide both. Exactly. And then you can see more items, more defense coming in for Solo and Kenvi, both having the Warden's Mail there. Randuin's Omen already fully completed for Tactical, needing that extra defense power. And it's TSM starting up the Baron now. They don't have Hauntzer here, but he has Unleashed Teleport. They do this very quickly.
No vision.
It's already almost dead. Immortals is just running into a situation where they're not going to get it done. Kenvi tries to go in for the flash steal, but no, he's all alone. Solo already disengaged for him. TSM just walked up and took the objective.
I mean, that's what it takes, right? We called that out 10 minutes ago. TSM, if they ever feel though IMT doesn't have the vision, can just start up, and they are not done. They are still remaining on the map. They're not spending any of this gold. They're trying to make sure they can get as much pressure as possible. By getting this wave pushed out far enough in advance, you know that it's going to be bouncing towards you later on. And these turrets are worth so much money. They're already here. Solo's the only one to defend.
This is a bad turn of events for Immortals. They were trying to stay even for so long. Boogie wants to engage here on Tactical. Treatz does a good job frontlining. Tactical fires back. Boogie's down to 1/3. Treatz got to be careful. You don't want to allow Turtle to get excited. Super Mega Death Rocket nearly finds the kill, but not enough damage there to seal the deal. Hauntzer just continues to apply pressure back in mid. Make sure Immortals always have something else to think about.
But you can see exactly how strong IMT's defenses are, right? Braum sitting there with the shield. WildTurtle was wailing away on him for 5-10 seconds. Didn't even take him down to half at that point. It had to be after the shield was already down. But TSM, they're moving out in force. This is an opportunity. IMT knows that they need to start looking for some of these plays, but at the same time, who's going to be matching Insanity? There's nobody that can actually deal with him, and Insanity's teleport will be up in time for the Dragon, and he can still create pressure. He's going to be taking this inhibitor turret.
Oh yeah, Immortals just doesn't have anybody nearby to try to deal with the dude at all. They know Solo's the only person who might be able to even breathe in that 1v1, so he'll go up there and try to deal with it, while the rest of Immortals want to take control of this, but Hauntzer's on the flank, man. Immortals are in the middle of a TSM sandwich, and they are about to have a bad time. Lulu gets engaged on Boogie's ready to find his way onto the Vel'Koz now. Hauntzer fighting too. He's on to Tactical, but he won't get the kill. Immortals might be able to turn it back around now as Boogie dredge lines into his own demise. Chime and Turtle barely escape. Insanity ready to join back up with these guys, but Solo's gonna do the same. Lulu, he has no Zonias, and Solo missed the ulti. Insanity's looking for the backline here yet again. He tries to lock up 3, but he won't get anything. The Drake goes over to the side of TSM. It is stolen away by WildTurtle.
It's a goddamn rocket once again. I thought that we were done with the Jinx steals after last year, but WildTurtle gets another one with an auto tag this time around. But TSM over and over again, well, they get bailed out right now by WildTurtle with that one auto attack. They are fighting over and over again without their most crucial member. We saw this is the second time, even though Insanity catches so many members, he does so much damage in this play. He just leaves everybody on a sliver of HP. Imagine if he was there when Hauntzer was there too.
Oh man, that Jinx steal. It looked like Immortals were just getting away with the crime. Everybody was so low. But that doesn't matter, man. WildTurtle and Tactical both doing over 7,000 damage in that last team fight. Actually, the second highest damage scorer for TSM was the Renekton from Hauntzer, who was just buying so much time, putting that pressure on Tactical in the Immortals backline. You already commented how Insanity didn't make it until the end of the fight, so naturally the numbers on him are going to be a bit lower. Blade of the Ruined King done for Tactical. Has the Tiamat in inventory looking towards the Hydra, so he's going to be a wave clear AoE splash machine once that one gets done. Man, oh man, we are getting close to some full builds here, my friend.
We are. Multiple members. You already called it Tactical on 4.5. We see Insanity, similar spot, has 4 done there. I need to see one fight where TSM either commits with Insanity with them or commits to Insanity off the sideline. He should be able to beat up Solo all on his own. It'll take a while to get through it, but you will eventually win that with all of the lifesteal. And TSM, I mean, we get to see some of the shades that we got before, right? I remember talking to some of the players who were scrimming up against TSM, and they always said, you know, it's not even that Ruby is not gelling with the team. It's just that Insanity's been better the entire time. Insanity's been a stronger player, and now he's trying to make these big plays all by himself. He's had a couple slick escapes, but he just needs to be with the team.
Well, Hauntzer and Solo are set up there in the bottom lane, both on full push duty, both level 18, both with their teleports ready to join the fight. So again, as so many games come down to with these top laners in split push situations, it's all about who gets the better angle, who gets the better timing there with those teleports to join up. Hauntzer does not have a super high damage Renekton build. Sometimes you see him go for stuff more like Blade of the Ruined King.
Yep.
This is a very stock standard. Two bruiser items into some tank stuff. He's not going to do any serious damage to Solo, so Solo's pretty fine there, sitting in that 1v1. We've seen that go fine for him throughout this game so far. Rabadon's death cap completed for Bolulu. This is where Vel'Koz can start 100-0ing people in one ulti. Solo backing away now. Recognizes more TSM players are heading down. Does not want to get caught in the middle of a 1v4. Even for Poppy, that one's pretty tough to deal with. Immortals continuing to concede the territory that they should own here in their own side of the jungle. It's a lot of TSM vision being placed down as the TSM players decide to go for a recall and get ready for the next fight. Baron's up in 45 seconds.
That's going to be where IMT needs to draw the line, right? They know that in 2 minutes there's an Ocean Soul for them to fight over. They know that in 40 seconds they're going to have to deal with Insanity. They are not going to be making the same mistake a third time in a row. They're going to be bringing him. He's going to be trying to find an opportunity. And look at all these teleport wards he has right behind the lines. He gets on top of one of those. We saw what Hauntzer was able to do. Hauntzer doesn't have the damage build. You know he's going to be doing all the deeps. It is going to be Insanity. He gets one reset, WildTurtle takes over. And IMT, they're trying to clear all this out, but I don't think they're going to get the one in the Wolf Pit.
And the big thing I'm looking at here too is where are those big one-time use items? Because I'm seeing them on the side of TSM. There's Guardian Angel for Renekton. There's Stopwatch on both Boogie and Insanity. There's Mikhail's Crucible purchased for Chime. So Turtle has 2 cleanses now instead of just the 1. Over on the other side, lots of powerful items coming through, but none of those one-and-done game changers, right? It's just like more firepower. It's Rabadon's death cap. If somebody stands in Bolulu's ulti for the full duration, you're gonna die. But TSM has been pretty good about trying to interrupt it so far. Turtle is the man with the plan, though. This is the guy you got to watch out. If TSM can keep him protected, he's got the DPS to win the fight on his own.
And IMT, they just don't know if they're hitting at any given point. Now they see where WildTurtle and Sandy are. They know that there's no threat on the Baron. They're going to be able to reclaim some of this vision, but Hauntzer on the far side, we saw a big flank from him before, and Sandy, he's grouped up. It's IMT hitting.
TSM are going in for the play. Let's see what they can find here. Insanity gets chunked a little bit, but Solo gets chunked more. Now Insanity locked down here. The Nature's Grasp goes into the back line of the main field, but he won't find a good target. Boogie now focused out next. Stopwatch keeps him alive. Insanity and Solo fighting off to the side as they lock down Kenvi. He tries to use his grasp back onto the Baron, and he stays alive for now. Bolulu won't get the kill. They need him with TSM. Turtle's unstoppable. He's excited, and he just can't hide it. The Jinx shuts down Tactical's Kog'Maw. Insanity takes out Bolulu. Immortals, they were so close, but no cigar.
Oh my god, so many people on blinking health bars on both sides of the fight, but TSM are the ones that come out on top. They're going to continue putting IMT down, and this might be the turnaround of their fortunes, right? TSM, 3 games down with Ruby. They lost one Insanity before. This would be a 4-game losing streak. Now they're coming around. They get their old mid laner coming right on back. He brings something out a little bit unique, and he is picking up exactly where he left off. Even though they got the one player, he and Hauntzer finally teamed up that fight.
TSM should just be able to march this one in now. Solo and Treatz do not have the damage to prevent the destruction of this base. Treatz throws up the unbreakable, but it won't live up to the name today. Insanity cuts him down. Turtle's excited from taking out the turrets, taking out the champions, and taking out Immortals. TSM take the game.
A big turnaround for TSM, right? Improving to 4 and 6 here in the standings. This is a big play for them. We had a 3-way tie down there at 7th place with a bunch of teams with the same number of wins. Now they're starting to separate themselves a little bit from the pack, guaranteeing them a little bit more opportunity to start playing for the playoffs. And you